Hello everyone, it's Prajul Patak this side and watching my YouTube channel pyGuru. Friends, this is the fifth tutorial in our piano tiles game series, and here we'll be trying to add the starting and the ending screen for our game. Okay, so our game is nearly completed. We have completed the main part or the main working of the game. The rest thing that we have to add is the starting and the ending screen so that the player can restart the game once he gets out. The second thing is that we have to show scores, and finally we want to add some little animations to our game. So this is your all, and we'll be doing it in two videos. Okay, so this is will be the first video, and there will be one more video for this, and that will be the final tutorial of this series. So let's get started. The first thing that I want to do is I want to add the starting and the ending screen to our game. Okay, so I'll be doing it like this. Let me just wait a second. Yeah, so we have previously loaded an image, a background image for our game. Moving further, we'll try to add few more images to our game. So if we just go to the resource link that is given in the video description, you will find few assets that we are going to use in this game. Okay, so these are the assets that we'll be building or using in our game. The second thing is that this is the logo of our game. Okay, and then this is the start button, so we are going to implement it here. We can do it something like this. First of all, let's just load the image, and it can be like this. First of all, the piano image. So piano img. Here piano img is simply the logo image. You can also call it logo img. So piano img equals pygame.image.load, and here we have to pass the path for our image, and it's set the assets folder. So assets, and its name is piano.png. Again, you have to download these resources. You will find the download link from the resource link that is given in the video description. Here we have loaded it. Now we are just going to resize it. So let's just resize it. Let me just copy and paste this line here, and we have to change few names here like this and then this. Okay, here again how it's working, we are going to resize the our image using this thing pygame.transform.scale. Here the first argument is the image that you want to resize, and then the width and the height. So my width will be 212 and height will be 212. Okay, since I have already made the game, I have already adjusted the width and height. Okay, good to go now. Currently, if I just run the game starts automatically. Okay, we do not have the option to start the game. It just starts automatically. What I want to do is I want to add an option to start the game. Then only the game will start. Otherwise, we'll be on the home screen. So we are going to implement it something like this. See, we'll create 3 pages. Home page. Here we'll be having the logo of the game, the name of the game, and then the option to start the game. So it will be true. Currently it's true. Okay, then game page, it will be false, and I think I don't need a score page. Okay, so let's implement it first. What I want to do is I want to run all of these things only if my game is running. Okay, if we are on the home screen, I don't want to execute these things. Okay, these things should only be executed, these highlighted parts should only be executed when we are running the game. You can do it something like this. If you want to create a home page for your game, we have already the variable. You can just write it like this. If home page, currently I'm just going to pass it. If game page, then we are going to just indent all of this inside this. Okay, all of these things inside. So if I now run this, you will see nothing will happen. Only the screen will be shown, or the background will be shown in our game. See, yes. So music is being played. It's okay. Why it's happening? Because here we have written home page equals true. It means we are currently on the home page. Okay. And for home page we have did nothing. We have just simply passed it. So if you want to play the game, we have to make our game page variable true. Then only the game will be played. Okay. So if you want to play the game, we have to make our home page false and game page true. So that only you will be able to play the game. So let's just do it. And first of all, I'm just going to when we are on the home page, first of all I am just going to display my logo. So win.glit, this is a function using which we can display our game, image. So piano img, this is the image name, and then you have to pass the position. So my position is something like this: width divided by 8, height divided by 8. If you want, you can pass integer values. Okay, so here width is, I think, 288 and height is 512. So 288 by 8 will be the width, then 512 divided by 8 will be the height. So if I now run my game, you will see along with the window will be displaying the logo for our game. Yes, so it's good. The next thing that I want to load or show is the start image. So let's show the start image now. Let me just copy these two lines. First of all, we have to load it, then we'll be able to display it. Okay, so just change the name from piano to start, and rest of the things will be remain same. Start, and here the values will change. Here we have loaded as 212 and 212, but this time I want to load it by 120 or resize it to 120 and 40 pixels. So 40. One more thing that I want to do is we know that if we are going to use an image in pygame, that image has an invisible rectangle around it. So if you want to get the rectangle of that image, we can get it like this: start rect, and the image name start.img, start underscore img dot get rect. Okay, so using this method, you can get the rectangle or the invisible rectangle around the image. Here you can set the position of your rectangle where you want to display your image on the screen. So I want to align the center at this position: width by 2 and height minus 80. Okay, now see, there are two ways to display images on the screen. First way, we manually pass a position. For example, for the piano img, we manually pass the position, this one, width by 8 and height by 8. The second way is to get the rectangle of the image and fix its position. Okay, so this image will only be shown at this particular position: width by 2 and height minus 80. Again, to display it, you have to write it like this. Let's just copy the line, paste it here. So instead of piano img, we have to show the start img. Here we do not have to pass position. Instead, here we have to just pass the start rect. So if I just now run the game, you will see the game will be having a start button on our game. Okay, what I want is, when I click on this button, the game should get started. So let's see how can we do this. It's very easy. Let's implement this now. Okay, so what I am going to do is, see here, from here we are taking the position. Okay, in the previous tutorials we learned if you want to get the position of the mouse click, we can get it like this: if event.type equals pygame.mouse button down, pos or position equals event.pause, and we can just print the pause to see where we are clicking on the screen. Okay, so let's just run it and let's see if it's working or not. If I click here, this is the position 166 by 36, this is the 240 by 148. Now what I want is, if I click on the play button, our game should get started. So that's what we are going to do. Okay, we already have the position, we only have to check the collision with this play button. It's very easy if we are using a rectangle. See, for the piano image, we didn't use the rectangle because we had no need to it. We didn't want to start the game on clicking the logo. We wanted to start the game when we click on the start button. That's why I have displayed the image by using the start or the rectangle of the image. Okay, we can now check it. If position, it means if there's some value in position. Okay, because by default the value of position is none here. Okay, so we only want to check the collision if there's some value in the position, like this. If there's some value in the position, then only we want to check the collision. So position and start rect, this is the rectangle for our start image. Okay, dot collide point, it has a method which we can use, and here you have to pass the position of your mouse click. Okay, and if our position collides with the start image, it will return true automatically. It will return true. Okay, if yes, I'm just going to make our home page variable false. Currently it's true. We have made home page equals true here, and game page false. Okay, game page false. What I want to do is, when we click on the start button, home page will become false and game page will become true. So if I just run it now, you'll see the game should get started. Okay, so we have some issue. And okay, the next thing that we want to do is, first of all, I want to put all of this in my here. Okay, I want to create my first tile when we click on the start button. Then the next thing is, I want to play the nodes or load the nodes when I click the start button. Okay, I don't want to load them unnecessarily, so let's just do it. And yes, here we are just loading the first node, but we will change it to a random node in a moment. Let's try it again. Let's see if it works or not. Still, it's we are facing some issue. And why is this issue we are facing? Okay, let me just check. Okay, so if you want, you can just pause for a moment and try to find out where is the error. The error is very simple, and it's if you want, okay, let's continue. The error is in the position. Okay, we have some value of position, then only we are able to execute these things. And this position does not collide with any of the rectangle or tiles that we have created in the previous tutorial. So there's still some value of the tile, and this condition becomes true. Okay, since there's a value in that position, our running variable becomes false and the game ends. We can do one thing to fix it. We can just make our position variable false, none. Okay, once we click on the start button, we can just make our position variable none, and this time it should work and the game should start correctly. Yes, so it's working fine. Good, it's good. Okay, so now what we want to implement is, let's implement the ending part of our game. Okay, currently we are implementing the starting part. One more thing, I want to play a random node, so I'll just make it random instead of manually loading the first node. So currently we are passing 1 here to play the first node. Instead we can do this thing. We can just load a random node instead of manually passing the 1 here. Okay, so index equals random dot randint, and here we will pass 1 length of nodes dict. Okay, see, there are total 5 nodes in our dictionary, and so we'll just choose a random number between 1 and 5, and then we'll pass the number here. But here we have to pass the string index. Okay, so we are just converting the string, then only it will work. Okay, if you just pass the integer value, it will give us error because the dictionary stores the nodes in a string numbers. Okay, string format numbers. So again, it will just play a random node instead of the first node, that is twinkle twinkle little star. So let's see what it plays. Okay, so it's happy birthday to you. That's good. Now we want to add a end screen to our game. Okay, what we want is, once we get over, we should get a end screen for our game. For this, we can do one more thing. Here we are going to add one more variable, game over. Here it will be by default false because our game is not over yet. Okay, so it's false. What we want is, we want the game to get over when the tile reaches the bottom or we click somewhere else instead of a tile. So instead of making our running variable false, we are just going to make our game variable false. Again, let's just copy and paste it here. Okay, so we have here made our game variable false instead of our running variable false. Now if the game variable gets false, we are just going to do things like this. Okay, so if game over, just go to bottom here. Again, we are inside the game page, and if our game gets over by these two conditions, we are just going to write one more condition. If game over, then what we are going to do is, we are just going to make our speed variable 0. Okay, see, here it will just fetch the current speed, but if the game gets over, this speed will become 0. So the tiles will just stop at their position wherever they are. They will just stop at that particular position. So if we just get touches the bottom, okay, it's not working yet. Why it's not working? Let me try once again. This should work, but if it's not working, okay, so it's not working. And why it's not working, that thing we have to think of. So okay, it's a silly mistake that I have made, and here we have to make the game over variable true. It's false by default. We have to make our game variable, a game over variable, true whenever the tile reaches the bottom or whenever we click somewhere else instead of a tile. So, and if I forget to click it, yes, the game gets over. Okay, so the tile just stops. Okay, what I want is when the game gets over, I want to display a red image. I have a red image in the assets folder. If you see, I have this image. I want to show this image on my screen. Okay, so it will give me a error effect. So first of all, we have to load it. So let's just load it and then we'll display it. Again, it's very easy. The position here, let's just load. Let me just copy these two lines, or this one will be better. Copy these two lines and paste it here. Okay, again our name is over image, or sorry, overlay. We can call it overlay. It's simply an image, overlay image. We can just simply show it like this. Okay, so its name is red overlay.png. Let's just load it, and then again we have to just resize it to the width of the height of our game window. Okay, so it will be resized to the new width and the height. We have loaded the overlay. Now we want to show it. Okay, for this what I will be doing is I'll create a variable overlay index. Okay, so let's create it, overlay index, and we'll start with the value 0. Okay, what I want to do is, if this overlay index is a multiple of 3, or you can say if this overlay index is divisible by 3, then we want to show this image on our screen. Okay, so we can do something like this. Inside the game over page, if overlay index greater than 20, then pass else what we want to do is we want to check if it's a multiple of 3, or we want to just increase the value of overlay index plus equals 1, and then if overlay index mod by 3 is equal to 0, we want to show it to our screen. So win.get overlay, and we want to show it at this position 0, 0. Okay, what this is doing, if the value of overlay index is less than 20, then this part will work. Otherwise, if it is greater than 20, this part will work where we haven't written anything. Basically, we have to write the same thing. So let me just copy paste it. So if I just run it now, this will work. And yeah, so as you can see, there's a red warning effect, or you can see a red error effect. Okay, it was being displayed. So once again, if you just clicks it, you will get a red overlay. So here we are getting the red overlay effect. It's working fine. Okay, now next thing that I want is I want to give the user an option to replay the games. Okay, still we have to display scores and few things. We will be doing that in the next tutorial. What we want to do is we want to show the user an option to replay the game. For that, we have the concept of buttons. Now there are no buttons in pygame by default, but we have the code for button. Now I have already discussed about buttons in my last 2-3 videos, so I'm not going to discuss it here, but I'll be making a separate tutorial on buttons. Okay, so you can just watch that tutorial instead of instead of increasing our length of this video. We will discuss the concept of buttons in a new video. Okay, So here's the code for buttons. It's very short, not very long. Basically what it does is it takes an image, it scales it to a new, or you can simply say it resize it to a new width and height, and it takes the x and y position where we want to show the button. Then it checks if we are clicking on that button. If we are clicking on that button, it just do whatever we want to do it. Okay. So what we is to use it, we have to first import it to our game. So tile. Now let's import the button. Okay. So we have imported a button. Now to use the button, you have to load images first that we want to show as a button. So I have few buttons that I want to show. So let me just load them, and I will be loading it them here. So buttons, let's load it. See in the assets again, I have few buttons here. This is the replay button, sound off button, sound out button, and close button. So let's just load these images. So close img. Let me just copy this line and paste it here. Its name is close. Okay, so close btn. Okay, again let's just copy these lines, paste, paste, paste. So I have 4 images that I want to load. The close, then replay img. So let's just load the replay, then few more are there, sound off and sound on. So let's just load sound off and sound on. Sound on and sound off. So sound on, it's I think sound on like this. Okay, and sound off. Okay, so we have loaded them. Now we have to create buttons. It's very easy to create buttons using the code. And again, you can get this code in the GitHub repo. You can just go there and copy paste it. Okay, you don't have to worry about it. The code is available, already available there. The first thing it takes is an image that we want to show or show. Then it takes the new width and height. So 24, 24. This will be my new width and height for the image. Then the position, it will be width by 4 minus 18, and then height by 2, sorry, height by 2 plus 120. Okay, so this will be the position where my close button will be shown. Again, let me just copy paste it. So we have 3 buttons in total. Close button, and it closes the game. Then replay button, it just help us to replay the game. So replay, it takes its value will be 36, 36. Okay, again it is just reusable code. We have already used it in the previous tutorials. We are just going to reuse it. Okay, so that's the profit, or you can say advantage of using classes. That is, we can just reuse the code that we have already written. So this is the code for this is how we created the replay button, and then we have the sound button. Let's create the sound button. Sound img. Okay, and its width and height, and then the position. So its position will be width minus width by 4 minus 18, and height by 2 plus 120. Again, I have already coded all these things. That's why I'm just putting these values. Okay, you can just change these values to see where the button is being placed. Again, we want to display it here. Okay, once the game gets over, we want to display these buttons so that user can restart the game, close the game. It's up to him. Okay, so if close button dot draw, it has a method draw here, as you can see in the object.py. It has a method draw. What it takes a window, and it displays the image on that window. So it takes a window, just pass the window here, and it returns true if we are clicking on that button. Okay, it returns false if we are not clicking. So that's it. So if you are clicking on the close button, our running variable will become false. So let's see if it's working or not. Okay, one more thing. Currently only the close button will be shown because only we are drawing only this thing. We have some issue here. Replay button dot png, no replay button. We have some issue in the replay button. Let's see what's it is. Okay, so there's no thing with the name replay button. It's only replay.png. Okay, it's good. Again, let me display two more. If replay button dot draw img, we are just going to pass. We are not going to do anything currently. If the last thing that is sound button, I think sound button dot draw, again it takes window, and again we are not going to do anything, we are just going to pass. Only if you close the button, if you click on the close button, the button or the game will end. Again we have few issues. Sound img is not defined, so let's see where is this sound img. So it should be sound on img. Okay, the first image that I want to show is the sound on img. So let's check if it works or not. Clicking on the game gets over. We have some issue. Name img is not defined. Replay button dot draw. We have to pass window, not the img. So this happens quite a lot. Okay, and yes, see, these are three buttons. Okay, we can just click on these to make them work, but currently we can only click on this button to make the game close. Okay, so if we click on this, the game closes. One more thing that I noticed is that I want to play the buzzer effects when the tile reaches the bottom. Also, there was no sound yet, so I want to play it when the buzzer I want to play the buzzer sound when it reaches the bottom. We're good to go now. Now what I want to do is, if we click on the restart button, I'll just make all of these things work again. So let me just copy all these lines. Okay, so let's just copy it and paste it inside here. Good. Now I'm just going to make them let me just copy it, regroup them. I'll paste it here. It's nothing too you can just, it was good in the earlier too, but since I have in the actual code it's above, that's why I'm making writing it above. Okay, then the next thing that we want to do is this will be the same, and we don't need this thing, position. Okay, so there are a few things that we want to do is, first of all, we want to make our tile group empty. We want to delete all the tiles that are currently in the tile group, so you can just use the empty method to empty them. So tile group dot empty. Now I want to make score 0. Okay, then I want to make the speed 0. Okay, then again I want to make the overlay index 0, and then I want to make the game over variable false. That's all, and this should do the job. We should be able to play the game. So let's try doing this. We'll implement sound button also, but let's check this works or not. So and the buzzer was playing, or it wasn't stopping. Okay, so we have to think of some way. Tile.alive. We can do few things. Here we can write a condition, if not, game over. Okay, if the game is not over, then only these things will be played, otherwise not. Okay, so let's try to run it once again and let's see if it works or not. Okay, so it closes. Now if I just click on the replay button, okay, looks good. And if I just click somewhere, again we are getting this. So again we have few issue. First of all, I want to make one more thing. If we reach the bottom, I want to make that color of the tile to be red. So let's just make it red. 255, 0, 0. Okay. If it reach the bottom, I want to make it red. And what else can we do? Let's check it if it works or not. We are nearly in the end of this video. If it reaches the bottom, it should get red. Yes, so it got red. Okay, so if I click here, it gets O. The next thing that I want to do is I want to make work on the sound button. So we'll fix the replay button, the buzzing sound on the replay button in a minute. So sound on, that's a variable. It's currently true because we have a background sound playing on. Okay, we'll do this in this part. Sound button dot draw. So it's very easy. We are just going to do. If it's on, we'll make it off. You can do it like this. Sound on. What it does is, if you are clicking, suppose our sound is currently on, and if you click on the sound button, it will get off. If it's off, it get on automatically. Okay, so this is how you can make switch between the values of true, between true and false of a variable. Okay, so if sound on, what I want to do is I want to change the sound button. So sound button dot update image. It has a method update image, and it takes a new image and changes the image on the button. So sound on img, and pygame dot mixer dot music, and here dot play. Okay, we discussed about it in the last tutorial. That's if you want to play the music, we have to pass this thing loops equals -1, so it will keep playing the music. Else, let's just copy these lines, paste it here. Okay, so if it's off, we are going to display the off image, and instead of playing it, we will just stop it. So stop. And this is the end of this tutorial. We will do the next things in other things in the next upcoming tutorial. It's working. Now if we just click go down, it gets over. You can turn on or off the background music by clicking on this button. Okay, so we have some issue. We'll fix it in the next tutorial. Okay, the buzzer cloud sound keeps playing. Yes, the background music stops, but we have a buzzer sound, so we'll fix it in the next tutorial. So this is it for this video, guys. If you love this video, leave a like or dislike. If you're new to my channel, subscribe it. Thank you. See you in the next tutorial.